JumpStart, the non-standard gameplay-focused set that we, the players, deserve. On top of the enjoyable and repeatable 1v1 gameplay contained within, JumpStart 2022 is a knockout for the collections of Commander players as well. Well, I mean, most products these days are for Commander, but work with me here. In today's video, we're focusing specifically on the Command Zone and naming the top 5 new commanders printed only in JumpStart 2022. And wow, are the legendaries in this set absolutely brimming with flavor, character, and potential. Now, for each commander I mention, I'm going to break down a kind of recommended deck tech, synergistic cards that pair well with each commander from within the great Magic the Gathering collection of cards, so that you have some starting ideas on how you would build your commander deck around each. And if you haven't already seen my video about which cards from JumpStart 2022 are best for Commander but within the 99 of your deck, you can check out that video here. Now, let's discuss the top 5 best commanders from JumpStart. But first, it's food, it's mobile, and oh, it's here! That's how Factor works. Convenient, diet-conscious, and real tasty meal plans that deliver right to your door. Hey, long gone are the days of seemingly healthy frozen food browsing, because now I know there's a better choice with the simple click of a button. Listen, you've heard me talk about Factor before, and there is a solid reason why I continue to work with them, and that reason is simple. It's simple. Factor's simple. I don't have to worry about diet because Factor will suggest options to me that match my diet. I don't have to worry about taste because Factor's chefs have meticulously made sure that each and every option is delicious. And I don't have to worry about options because they've got a lot of options. Hey, we're all busy working, playing, creating, that sometimes sitting down and preparing a meal yourself slows down your process. So get hyped for a food delivery service that actually wants you to flourish. Use my link or just go to go.factor75.com and use code POG TCCDEC60 for 60% off your first box. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring this video. So what are the top 5 commanders from JumpStart 2022? Well, coming in at number 5, step aside, Crothus, Lord of the Deep. The true king of the deep seas has finally arrived, and aha, it's a merfolk! How very appropriate if you ask me, and you did by clicking on this video. Our number 5 pick on the list is Kinesos, Priest of Thassa. Kinesos, Priest of Thassa is a 1/3 legendary merfolk cleric that costs 1 blue and 1 generic mana. Low mana value like all the best merfolk. Kinesos' first ability reads, if you would scry a number of cards, scry that many cards plus 1 instead. The second ability is truly the sea of value that we are here for, though. For 3 generic and 1 green or blue mana, you can activate this ability anytime to look at the top card of your library. If it's a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent creature card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't put the card onto the battlefield, you may put it on the bottom of your library. While Kinesos' first ability is solid and will play a key role in our game plan, it's his second ability that truly makes him a standout choice as a commander. Thanks to the green pip in his ability's cost, Kinesos is Simic, a notorious color combination that will not only give us access to some of the greatest sea monsters in the game, but also the tertiary tools needed to cheat them into play and close out the game with waves of value. The design here is quite intuitive. With our improved scrying abilities, we can more efficiently organize the top of our library. Then let's use Kinesos' activated ability to cheat them directly into play. Why pay 9 mana for an Inkwell Leviathan when we could simply pay 4? The same goes for cards like Hullbreaker Horror, not to mention big bads like Coma, Cosmos Serpent, who, let's be honest, are already enticing to cast at their printed mana values. Simic Value Engine strikes again. When it comes to scrying, cards like Nissa, Steward of Elements, Omen of the Seas, and Joint Exploration provide us with welcome, inexpensive sources of the valuable effect. I love how our commander gives all of these often overlooked cards just a little bit more bang for their buck. With the tops of our decks scried and sculpted, we need not but a well-placed Whelming Wave or sneaky Wormhole Serpent to make our opponents vulnerable to our oceanic assault. Next, well, from the dark watery depths below to the great skies above, for the next commander on our list, we will be ascending. Artifact players, vehicle lovers, and hot air balloon enthusiasts alike, strap in. This next commander is sure to keep your marvelous machinations well-oiled and ready to fight and flight. At number 4, we're getting a welcome glimpse back into the plane of Kaladesh with Lita, Mechanical Engineer. Seemingly a rare, or perhaps new, specimen on Kaladesh. For 2 generic and 1 white mana, Lita, Mechanical Engineer is a 3/3 legendary artificer with vigilance, who herself is also an artifact. Her first ability reads, at the beginning of your end step, untap each other artifact creature you control. Wow, that's pretty sweet by itself. But Lita then goes above and beyond with her second activated ability. For 3 generic and 1 white mana, you can tap Lita to create a 5/5 colorless vehicle artifact token named Zeppelin with flying and crew 3. I feel like there's so much to dig into here. Since these tokens she creates are vehicles, and thus not creatures, we must obviously make them become creatures with their inherent Crew 3 ability. Lita has the 3 power necessary to tap in Crew 3, but we want more 3-powered pilots alongside her, and that's where Sanwell, Avenger Ace, comes in. Joined by other great cards like Foundry Inspector and a favorite of mine, Dig Site Engineer, we're able to not only pilot with these creatures, but also provide overall utility to our vehicular game plan. Sanwell helps us seek more pilots and vehicles. Foundry Inspector helps us cast them easier, and Dig Site Engineer generates us more artifact creatures. Our Zeppelins are not only good for attacking, though. Thanks to Lita, Mechanical Engineer's static ability, on our end step, we can untap all artifact creatures we control, including the Zeppelins, before they become uncrewed. Should we have an appropriate number of creatures on board to recrew them, this essentially means we can use our flying Zeppelins as powerful 5/5 blockers during our opponent's turns, even after we've attacked with them. Vigilance is an incredibly powerful yet too often overlooked utility in Commander. Some of you have faced down Inquisitor Greyfax from the recent 40k precons and already know what I'm talking about there, but Lita, Mechanical Engineer, provides something that's even stronger than Vigilance for your artifact creatures. Not only does she allow them to attack and block for you the way Vigilance does, but Lita's ability also gives us twice the access to a plethora of activated abilities across our robotic force. Utilizing our commander's untap ability will mean twice the activations for, say, mana dorks such as Ornithopter of Paradise, Palladium Mirror, and Gold Mirror, as well as twice the activations for utility creatures like Drillworks Mole, Blinding Soul Eater, and yes, you guessed it, Steel Overseer. Talk about synergy. Even if we opt not to use their abilities after we untap them, we can of course always use their combined power to crew another Zeppelin if need be. Alright, so our number 5 and 4 picks on this list showed us the duality of the ocean depths and the clear skies above, but our number 3 pick similarly expresses a duality of light and dark. Vampires, angels, never had they had much in common other than a shared plane or two, but the wicked and the divine are entwined like never before with our next commander. Hovering in at number 3 is the decadent, the elegant Rudolph Duskbringer. For 5 colorless and 1 black mana, Rudolph Duskbringer is a 4/4 legendary vampire angel? Ooh, new creature type combos for the win. This new commander comes suited with 3 relevant keywords: flying, death touch, and lifelink. He also states, whenever you gain life, Rudolph Duskbringer gains indestructible until end of turn. This ability synergizes well with his lifelink, as does his final Haymaker triggered ability. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 generic and 1 white or black mana. When you do, return target creature with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. And like so many of the JumpStart commanders, Rudolph gives us more than just one angle to work with. For this evaluation, let's focus on entwining the power of life gain and graveyard recursion. Just by himself, dealing combat damage with Rudolph gains us 4 life. Then, on our end step, we can pay the 2 necessary mana to revive any 4 mana value creature from our graveyard. With literally no extra sources of life gain necessary, Rudolph alone can bring back threats from the grave such as Sarah Paragon and Sheoldred the Apocalypse. When utilizing additional sources of life gain such as Chaplain's Blessing or Vampire Nighthawk, Rudolph's end step ability could bring back forces of even greater potency. Cards like Archangel of Thune, Sister Hospitaliere, and of course Sheoldred, the Whispering One, come to mind. What all these reanimation targets have in common is that they all have abilities that check at least one of two boxes: life gain or graveyard recursion. As long as we focus on these strengths, our Rudolph deck is sure to completely drain the very life out of our foes and then kindly escort them up to heaven? The last cornerstone of Rudolph's deck that you want to look at is filling up your graveyard. How exactly do we get our creatures that we want to reanimate with Rudolph into the grave in the first place? Cards like Incarnation Technique and Unmarked Grave come in handy here. Not to mention the old stalwart of Buried Alive to offer some clean, straight-to-the-point choices when it comes to filling up our grave with fodder. So what are the top 2 commanders from JumpStart 22? Well, coming in at number 2, getting cold in here. There must be some Yeti in the atmosphere. Snowballing their way into our number 2 spot is Isu the Indomitable. No, wait, that's not right. It's Isu the Adorable. No. It's Isu the Abominable. There we go. Heck, why not all of the above? Claiming the title as the very first legendary Yeti in the game, Isu the Abominable is a 5/5 legendary Snow Yeti that costs 3 generic and 2 blue mana. His ability states you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play snow lands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. Furthermore, whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 green, 1 white, or 1 blue mana. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Isu the Abominable. 'Tis the season for your opponents to be frosty. Ho, ho, ho. I don't know. Either way, we're finally giving Jorn, God of Winter, competition as the leader of snow-based decks. As Isu the Abominable not only offers greater access to our snow permanents, but considerable commander damage payoff to boot. Isu's ability to play snow cards from the top of our library means as long as it's in play, and as long as our deck is filled with snow cards, we have a very cool and consistent boost to our card advantage throughout the game. So what's the strategy here? Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've got a soft spot for Voltron decks. Commander damage is one of the key features that helps this format stand out from others, and that's why I like to lean into it when plausible. Because the advantage we gain for putting snow cards into play is adding +1/+1 counters to Isu, I want to utilize our Yeti's continually increasing size to smash our opponents with blistering commander damage. Green-based ramp is going to be critical in our long-term game plan. We must remember all lands we put into play will be snow lands. Casting ramp early game is powerful because doing so helps us cast Isu the Abominable, and casting ramp late game continues to be powerful as it puts more snow permanents into play, giving us bonus opportunities to pay the 1 mana and make Isu larger with +1/+1 counters. Ramping early game is best done with cards like Into the North, 3 Visits, and Glittering Frost. Then for the explosive late game, let's blanket our board with Reshape the Earth and Traverse the Outlands. You know, as I look ahead to our final choice for top commanders in JumpStart 2022, I can't help but notice a theme of dichotomy in this set. Where our last pick had us frost burnt from the bitter cold, our final pick on this list has us regular burnt from the blazing hotness? I don't know, maybe that doesn't work after all. But the best new commander from JumpStart 2022 is indeed the little devil on your shoulder whispering, "Break the game," which itself has finally manifested in a legendary creature. That's right, our number 1 pick is Auntie Blight, Bad Influence. For 2 generic and 1 red mana, Auntie Blight is a 2/2 flying devil advisor with 2 major abilities. Whenever a source you control deals damage to you, put that many +1/+1 counters on Auntie Blight, Bad Influence. The second activated ability requires you to pay 1 generic and 1 red mana, then tap to remove X +1/+1 counters from Auntie Blight. It deals X damage to any target. The standout feature of this commander is how Auntie Blight requires sources you control to deal damage to yourself in order for her to benefit with +1/+1 counters. Well, let's burn this city down. While we're still in it, though? Auntie is naturally evasive as a flyer, so whether we swing in for combat damage or utilize her activated ability to deal damage directly, we are always meaningfully advancing the game state via reduction of life totals. Let's focus on group burn commander damage, and Auntie's activated ability to leave our opponents in cinders. Auntie Blight being on board is the only condition we truly need to meet before we can start lighting the table on fire. Who needs matches when you have cards like Acidic Soil, Slag Storm Flamebreak, and Flame Rift? Each player are the two magic words when it comes to this strategy's success. Not only do these options deal tremendous total damage to our opponents for their mana investment, but they singe away our totals as well, prompting our Auntie to grow ever more sinister with +1/+1 counters. So now that the fuses are lit, we can head to the combat phase. When it comes to attacking, there is no support greater to Auntie than the equipment Batter Skull. With a Batter Skull attached, Auntie gains a game-changing upgrade, as the lifelink it provides can heal us back up from the damage we've suffered, while still maintaining her ability to pay 2, tap, remove counters, and deal even more potentially lethal direct damage. While nothing will be quite as ideal as a Batter Skull, sources that grant vigilance and lifelink such as Shadow Spear or Haunted Cloak will certainly be worth the consideration. Unless, of course, you'd rather forego reason, include no life gain, and simply laugh maniacally because the devil on your shoulder has convinced you to cast Earthquake for 20. That's right, fools, we all lose the game. But that means I, in a sense, won? Burn it all down! And with that, our list of top 5 brand new commanders from JumpStart 22 is complete. I very much hope this video has been inspiring to you. Do you have a different vision when it comes to building the commanders we listed here today? Which other JumpStart legends, new or reprinted, are you most excited to brew around? And do these legends fit in the 99 of your existing decks rather than in the command zone? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, big thanks to Factor. If you're looking for flavor, speed, and convenience with your meals, then get on that Factor train already and ride the spice to better diet options. Head to go.factor75.com and use code POG TCCDEC60 for 60% off your first box. Thanks again for sponsoring this video, Factor.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
What is up? It's Shuffle Up and Play. Today it's Pauper. I have here not one, but 2 pillars of Pauper ready to pop off. Who is joining us?
Hi, I'm Lewis Stardust. I'm be playing Boros Bully for Pauper.
Tori of the Bass. Hello. Today I will be playing the Rakdos Burn deck.
You 2 asked for a challenge, so that's why I flew in Andrea Mengucci for a round 2 boss fight.
You have a flying indestructible bridge.
All right, I want in on this. I'm bringing up my Pauper deck against the big boss himself.
What if I win?
How about this? You win, you can have this jacket, but if I win, I get your scarf.
Oh, that's a high risk.